Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening, and I'm Shelby Clark for Primetime Local News. Thank you for joining us. 14 more people who tested positive for COVID-19 in Saskatchewan have died. There are 232 new cases, including 45 in the Northwest Zone. 20 of the new cases are in the immediate Lloydminster area, where we have 207 active cases. 2,655 cases are considered active province-wide. 208 people are in hospital, with 5 in the Northwest, 2 people in intensive care in our zone. More than 34,000 people have been vaccinated, with 2,177 given the first doses in our zone. 2 businesses in Saskatoon and 1 in Regina have each been fined $14,000 for failing to abide by public health orders. The city has granted just over $27,000 to 4 smoking-related programs in the border city as part of the tobacco reduction grant. Eric Bay has more.
3 organizations in Lloydminster put in requests for funding totaling $39,000 to fund 4 tobacco programs. The money allotted won't cover the entirety of the programs, but they will move forward on a smaller scale.
It was great to hear that we can continue to ensure that the programming is going to happen, because we don't want the money to come back again and then sit and wait a whole full year. The money's collected with the intention of trying to put it to use as soon as possible within the community through various organizations, and that's what's going to happen.
Council voiced concerns about how fewer dollars would impact the programs, but each one provided a flexible plan.
What happens if there's not enough money to meet their programming? Can they adjust their programming because they build an idea, they bring it forward, FCSS looks at it, our committee, and says, yeah, it's a great idea, but we only have X number of dollars to pour towards it.
While vaping has risen in popularity, the grant has stayed consistent, with funds from the grant based on the number of tobacco retailers in the city.
It has been, I believe, fairly consistent since it was introduced. We haven't seen a lot of new retailers adding tobacco or vaping products to their selling their selection. So anybody that was in the business already, that's where that funds are coming from, but we haven't seen a huge increase in that retail side.
The Lloydminster Area Drug Strategy, Lloydminster Sexual Assault Services, and Lloydminster Interval Home Society received funding from the grant. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
Lakeland College is receiving a $1.9 million grant from the Alberta and Canadian governments towards 2 of their research programs. Our Jasmine King has the details.
An agreement is almost complete that will help Lakeland College grow its existing research capacity. The 3-year agreement will support Lakeland College's takeover of both the pulse agronomy and beef production system programs in the province of Alberta.
So super good fits for us here at Lakeland. Both of those are priorities for us in our applied research program, and clearly have a great fit with our region, both on the Alberta and Saskatchewan side in terms of the crops that are grown and the focus on, on beef and cow-calf efficiencies and, animal health and welfare, and all those things are clearly important to our region as well.
This year, Lakeland College has classes both virtually and in person, giving students the hands-on learning experience. And with this grant, they'll be able to offer more opportunities to their students.
To learn about the results of research, which they can apply, on their own farming operations, or, as they become employed in industry, being on the leading edge and understanding, what's going on in terms of research and the results of that research, right? So will be really important. It just adds that much more learning and education as they leave our institution, as they leave Lakeland College for employment.
The grant will be expanding the programs while also adding more depth to the research.
Primarily, it's being used to build capacity, i.e. There's a transition of, it will involve adding 3 more researchers to our research program here at Lakeland. 1 on the Pulse program side and 2 on the beef side, as well as a research agronomist and some technicians.
The government of Alberta has committed close to $400 million in funding to agriculture research over the next 10 years. Jasmine King, Primetime Local News.
With temperatures moving into a cold snap, residents and drivers need to be aware of the importance for plugging in their vehicles and staying warm out on the highway. We chat with the rescue squad for safety tips and what they think residents should keep inside their vehicles.
Speaking with me today is Ryan LeBlanc with the rescue squad. How are you today?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing very good. So from the beginning of the weekend, temperatures definitely started dropping to freezing cold weather. I wanted to ask about some advice for drivers to prepare for driving on these roads that you'd like to give.
Yeah, you know what? If people are going to be heading out on the highways when it's this cold, make sure you're dressing for the weather. Make sure you plan to bring some warmer clothing, dress in layers. Bring a blanket or a sleeping bag in case you do come across somebody who wasn't prepared. And for yourself, like I said, have a suitcase or a suitcase full of winter clothing, a skidoo suit, mittens, gloves, toques, and the proper footwear.
And how many times a day would you say should people be starting their vehicles to let them run?
You know what? If you plug your vehicles in, it usually helps. If somebody starts their vehicle throughout the day, then that'll help kind of keep that vehicle warm.
And speaking of plugging in vehicles, do you suggest that people should be doing it every night during this cold snap?
Yeah, absolutely. It is easier on the vehicles, and when you're going to start them in the morning, you have a much better chance of that vehicle starting for you. So yeah, we plug in our vehicles, or if they're outside. Otherwise, I know I park my vehicle in the garage, and it's nice and warm for the morning.
And since many people probably travel on the highway, like you were saying, on weekends, what tips should people have knowledge of in case of an incident on the road?
Just have a plan with somebody. Make sure somebody knows when your expected time of arrival is. Make sure people know where you are. If you don't show up at that time, then to have somebody start looking for you. And again, be prepared. Have the proper the clothing, the proper cold weather clothing out there. In case you do break down or you do come across somebody who wasn't prepared. If somebody's a flat tire and or they run out of gas and they can't run their vehicle, and you're able to stop and maybe give them a helping hand by giving them a blanket or a warm vehicle, or having them sit in yours until help arrives to help them with theirs.
And for people in those situations when they're stuck out on the road, when their vehicle breaks down or they have a flat tire, can you kind of give more of a detailed steps that they could take to stay safe and warm?
Yeah, stay in your vehicle. The best thing to do is to stay with your vehicle. If you do break down, you're better off to stay out of the elements. I know it's still cold, but you're better suited in your vehicle. Somebody's bound to come by. Call for help, call a tow truck, or if you're in a medical emergency or you're having an emergency, you can call 911 and they'll be able to come give you a hand. So yeah, definitely stay with your vehicle. Don't veer off into a field or walk away from that vehicle. So.
And in your opinion, this year, with how bad the roads are and with how many incidents there have been, has this been worse than last year?
No, we do see it every year. I don't think it's any more this year than last year. It's we get the cold weather, we get the bad roads, and with that comes the accidents and emergencies. So we see it every year, and we can just remind travelers to stay home if they know that the weather is going to be bad. If they don't have to travel when it's the extremely cold temperatures or blizzarding, it's just plan to stay home.
Is there anything else you want to add for residents to know about during this cold snap?
No, just make sure, another tip would be to keep your phones charged and have a phone charger in your vehicle for when you're out on the roads. And again, just have a plan with your family or friends to know your time of arrival and when you've left.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Ryan.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Now here's RJ Smacky for a first look at your weather forecast.
Thanks a lot, Shelby. Today was a little bit warmer than yesterday, not as cold, but still pretty chilly and a gloomy day overall. Today here in Lloydminster, we're sitting at minus 21 currently with winds coming in at 27 kilometers an hour, making things feel a little more like minus 33 right now. Looking at temperatures across central Alberta and Saskatchewan, up in Cold Lake, they're sitting at minus 19. Minus 18 is the temperature in Athabasca, minus 17 in Whitecourt, minus 16 in Edson and Edmonton, minus 11 in Jasper. Rocky Mountain House is sitting at minus 15, same as Red Deer. As we look now into Saskatchewan, Meadow Lake right now sitting at minus 18, minus 24 in Prince Albert, minus 25 in Melford, minus 22 in North Battleford and in Saskatoon. And here in Lloydminster, we're sitting at minus 21. As we look at North Battleford, overnight tonight, things are going to be pretty cloudy and overcast with minus 23 as a temperature overnight tonight. Things will warm up as we head into the day tomorrow in North Battleford. They'll be seeing a minus 17 for the temperature overnight, and the sun will peek through but still be an overcast day overall in North Battleford. As we look at Cold Lake, currently there is some scattered flurries right now in Cold Lake, and those could continue overnight tonight. We'll see minus 22 for the temperature, and things will warm up slightly to minus 16 for the daytime high tomorrow in Cold Lake. As we look here in Lloydminster, there's a chance of flurries overnight tonight and into the day tomorrow. Those are going to be some scattered light flurries, and we'll see minus 16 for the temperature overnight, and things will warm up to minus 15 for the day tomorrow. As we take a look at the next 3 days here in Lloydminster, things are chilly but start to warm up slightly. As we look at Thursday, there's a daytime high of minus 15 and a low of minus 19, but that wind chill will be minus 24. The sun will be peeking through a little more on Friday, and we'll see minus 12 for the high, minus 20 for the low, and a wind chill of minus 19. That is a first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more news after the break.
Welcome back. With the month coming to a close, so was the Real Estate Center's fundraiser for STARS. To check on its progress, Tate Leecraft has more.
So today I'm joined by Real Estate Center brokers Rita Baxter as well as Helene Jacobson, who are here to discuss their fundraising efforts for STARS. Thank you both for being with me today.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Our pleasure.
So for people who are unfamiliar with your commitment to STARS, could you maybe just explain it a little bit?
So yes, we started doing the STARS fundraiser in 2017. It started out with our sister offices in Southern Alberta, where we started doing a charity auction and dinner evening for STARS and both Halo, because we also have Halo in the southern provinces. But of course, this year, everything is so different and unique with obvious restrictions and limitations that we wanted to still fundraise for STARS, because we feel that STARS is one of the charities that we can stand behind for all of our offices, because we have offices over all of Alberta into Saskatchewan, and STARS reaches out into Alberta and into Saskatchewan. So it basically affected all of our offices, especially doing a lot of work in the rural communities and in the smaller towns. It really affected our clients a lot, and we felt that everybody could benefit from that. So this year we wanted to still fundraise, because of course for STARS it's a very difficult time, as most of their fundraising events have been canceled, including ours. So as an office, we came together and said we will match up to $10,000 in funds, trying to still raise a decent amount of them for them.
And when it comes to community involvement, how has the fundraiser changed this year?
Community involvement is geared towards basically social distancing. So a lot of people have come on board by, donating online, and of course, sharing our posts. And the more times our posts get shared, the more opportunity we have to raise money for such a great cause.
I also wanted to touch base on the foundation of this fundraiser. What drew you guys to STARS, and how did it all start?
The only thing that I can honestly say on a personal basis is the fact that Helene's niece actually was one of the people that needed help with STARS, pardon me. So it made it a lot more personal for myself because of the association that I do have with Helene, and it just seemed to hit home.
Last year, actually, just 4 days before the actual charity event, my niece got airlifted to Calgary, and at that point you can see how quickly you actually might need the service without even knowing, and how close it hits to home. The other thing is, a lot of people that do get affected by STARS is they're worried about getting a bill when they're already having a tragic event in their life. They're worried about the cost of it as well. And as many people might not know, is that STARS is completely 100% funded by fundraisers and a little bit by the government.
In the past, you guys had been able to host a charity dinner along with an auction, which brought more funds in. How did you have to change your expectations and goals for 2021?
We didn't set the bar as high because we know that the communities are suffering, that a lot of businesses are struggling. So we didn't ask for as much money. as we have had in other years. Last year, we raised over $54,000 at our event for both Stars and Halo. And so that was a very significant amount. So this year, we know the struggles that are out there, but we still wanted to make a difference in the community and for Stars. So that's why we put down the $10,000 matching. As of right now, we're at 97%. I believe we're only $204 away of reaching our goal. People are still calling in and dropping off checks. So I know that we will surpass that goal, and I hope we can keep it going for a couple days to definitely raise more than our goal.
For people who are maybe looking to get some last week donations in, where can they go?
Well, locally here in Lloydminster, you can definitely call our office, 780-875-5581, and donate. We are sharing the posts left, right, and center on Facebook. It's social media. It's huge. You can come by our office, drop off a donation, and we will make sure that it's put to good use. And Helene, your office, what's the best route?
Yeah, if I might just add to that, we have set up a special fundraiser webpage for Stars and Real Estate Center. So go to stars.support. That's stars.support. Basically, the link will pop up. You can click the button, make a gift or make a donation, and it'll take you right to the credit card information. It's all secure, and then it'll go directly to Stars, and they will make sure that you also get a donation receipt.
Thank you both so much for your time.
Thank you for reaching out.
LloydX has announced that this year's Cutter Rally for Cancer has been canceled due to COVID-19. Our Rebecca Day looks at what this means for fundraising efforts.
I'm here with Della Wist, chairperson for the Cutter Rally for Cancer Committee, to discuss the cancellation of this year's Cutter Rally. Thanks for joining us today, Della.
You're welcome.
So this would have been the event's 17th year, if I'm not mistaken, but for anyone who may not know, what is the Cutter Rally for Cancer?
The Cutter Rally for Cancer is a fundraiser for the health unit in the chemo unit of the hospital. We have raised funds for the past 17 years. This would be the 18th. And it is where people bring their horses and their sleighs and their cutters. And we see all sorts of it, miniature horses, draft horses, riding horses. People can ride through the trail as well. We have a predetermined trail, and at each stop you would roll the dice, and the highest number at the end of the day with the dice would win a 2-seat cutter that we have for a grand prize. This year it's just a little difficult to try and do.
I imagine canceling the event wasn't a fun decision to make. Can you talk a little bit about the thought process going into that?
We had several meetings starting in last November, and we went right up until this last week, and hoping that we would still be able to host the function and still try and raise funds. But as we got into it, it was getting to be harder and harder to get anything done. We usually have about 200 or 300 in for a dinner that night, and you can't have more than 30. So that right off the bat put out the meal. We have beautiful roast beef dinner, and that cuts that one out. It cuts out the silent auction. It cut out basically everything so that we had nothing that we could meet more than 30 people with. So unfortunately, we had to cancel it, and we won't be doing the fundraiser this year with a Cutter Rally.
In the cancellation announcement, there was a mention of alternative events that would take place during the spring and or summer. Are you able to comment on these plans?
It's in the planning stages right now. I have a committee that doesn't give up, and they brought along this idea and said, you know, we could host it hopefully when the restrictions are lifted a bit, and it would involve a drive, because most of this is driven and that with the horses, but you can also horseback ride, as I said earlier. And it would include like a hot dog, wiener roast, something along that line. We can still maybe have it near the exhibition. The trail is the big problem in planning this. In the summertime, the crops are already in, so it eliminates a lot of possibilities, but we've got some ideas.
Right. Well, that sounds great. Will you be accepting donations in the meantime in an effort to continue raising funds, or is there some other way for people to get involved in the meantime?
We'll definitely take on some donations. We do that all during the year anyway. So if they want to, they can either donate at the Lloydminster exhibition or they can contact myself.
Perfect. And is there anything you'd like to add on the subject while we have you?
I think our committee is quite disappointed about the result, and because I had a lot that were willing to give it a go if we could have had the people around for it. So because we usually get about 30 cutters and sleighs and all the horses that go with that, plus numerous horseback riders. So it is a big event, and it's disappointing that we can't do it for the 18th year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for taking the time today, Della. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Now here's your stock market prices for today.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
While junior hockey has been on pause since late November, the SJHL is finding ways to showcase their players to scouts and fans. The SJHL is hosting a virtual showcase giving fans and scouts a chance to know the stars of the SJHL. 80 players have been chosen to play on 4 teams. 2 of the teams will be rookie skaters, 16 to 18 years old, and 2 will be veterans, 18 to 20 years old. Teams were selected by SJHL coaches and created within EA Sports NHL 21 by Alex Watson.
I use numbers based on statistics. That's what makes it very difficult this year compared to the playoff simulation, is we have a very small sample size of what the players have done this year. There are players who started the year hot who might cool off near the end, and there's probably players who had poor starts that will rise to the occasion throughout the year. Sure. So you have to look at what they've done in their past history as well to get a decent sample size of their rating. Yeah.
2 players from the Battleford's North Stars will play on the Global Ag Risk Solutions rookie team, and 1 will play for the Sherwood team. Also on the Sherwood team are Lloydminster twins Easton and Chase Haygarth. Games will take place on Friday and Saturday and can be watched on SJHL's Twitch stream. Here's Jace Mackey with another look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks a lot, Shelby. As we take a look at your satellite and radar map right now, there is some light snow activity coming through the Lloydminster area heading over to Maidstone. Tonight, there is a chance that we'll be seeing some light periods of snow here in Lloydminster and also in Cold Lake. Taking a look at temperatures across Saskatchewan right now, up in Alacross, they're sitting at -19. -20 is the temperature in Green Lake, -18 in Pierceland, Meadow Lake, -20 in St. Walburg, -21 in Maidstone, North Battleford sitting at -22. Macklin sitting at -18, and here in Lloydminster we're sitting at -21. Looking into Alberta right now, Cold Lake sitting at -18 or -19. Sorry, -18 is the temperature in Lac La Biche and Bonnyville. Edmonton sitting at -16. Vegreville sitting at -17. -19 is the temperature in St. Paul, Vermilion, and Wainwright sitting at -18, same as Provost. As we take a look at temperatures for the day tomorrow, we'll be seeing, sorry about that, we're going to be seeing a -15 up in Lac La Biche, -16 in Bonnyville, Cold Lake, and St. Paul, -15 in Edmonton and Vegreville, -16 for the temperature in Vermilion tomorrow, and the daytime high will be -13 in Wainwright and Provost. Looking into Saskatchewan for temperatures tomorrow, Alacross is sitting at -15, -16 is the temperature in Green Lake and Meadow Lake, as well as St. Walburg and Pierceland, and Maidstone, North Battleford are going to be sitting at minus 17, and minus 11 will be the daytime high for Macklin tomorrow. As we take a look at the school day forecast here in Lloydminster, as we wake up at 8 a.m. and start the school day, minus 21 is the temperature. Things will warm up to minus 19 during the recess hour. Around lunchtime, things will warm up degrees to minus 18, and by the time school's out, minus 17 will be the temperature. Pretty overcast throughout the day tomorrow, but there's a chance of you'll see some sun throughout the recess and noon hours. As we take a look at overnight temperatures across the region, there's a chance of snow in Bonnyville. Temperature overnight tonight in Meadow Lake's going to be minus 24, same with Alacross. Minus 22 is the temperature in Pearceland. Bonnyville's going to be sitting at minus 21, same as Paradise Hill, and Mirren will also be sitting at minus 21 overnight tonight. Unity sitting at minus 23. Provost will be at minus 19, same with Wainwright. As we take a look at the next 7 days here in Lloydminster, tomorrow Wednesday is going to be sitting at minus 16 for the high. Things are getting sunnier on Thursday with minus 15 as the high and minus 19 for the low. Sunnier day on Friday with minus 12 as the high and minus 20 for the low. Cloudy days over the weekend as we see a minus 13 and minus 12 for the highs respectively over Saturday and Sunday. Monday the sun will peek through slightly but still overcast day, minus 10 for the high, minus 15 for the low. Minus 11 will be the high on Tuesday, minus 15 the low on that day. And that's a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more news after the break.
Welcome back. Wednesday is Family Literacy Day across Canada. The goal of the day is to showcase the importance of reading and learning together as a family. Jace Mackey has more on how families can take part virtually this year.
I'm joined today with Mac Rogers from ABC Life Literacy. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Jace.
So Family Literacy Day is coming up on Wednesday. First of all, can you just tell me a little bit about what Family Literacy Day is and a little bit of the history about it?
Sure. So Family Literacy Day is a day we've been celebrating for 22 years, since 1999. So we at ABC Life Literacy Canada are the hosts of Family Literacy Day. And what we do is we try to encourage as many community organizations, schools, families to celebrate this really important day. And it's all about bringing families together to practice their literacy skills and their learning skills, and most importantly, to have fun while doing it.
Because of COVID, family literacy and online learning have kind of increased, and families may have been seeing kind of learning in a new way. But can you just go over a little why family literacy is so important?
Absolutely. So family literacy, and this includes both reading and writing, as well as any number of other activities, is important because it really forms the foundation of all our other professional and educational skills. There's research that says that kids that are exposed to lots of books and lots of reading and lots of family literacy skills will score way better in their tests and actually have higher incomes as they get older. But it's also about, particularly in this time of year when we have this pandemic going through our communities, and it's hard for us to have kids at schools, and maybe their time's limited at schools, but we're social creatures and we need to create an environment of social learning, and we learn socially as well. So creating that environment at home when we can is really important. And it doesn't have to be 3 or 4 hours of, strenuous reading. It can be, just cooking with your child, or having them teach you how to use an app, or playing a game with them, and kind of just practicing those literacy skills, which can include everything from digital literacy to, managing your money and shopping and things like that. So it's all about kind of connecting it to the real world while still pulling it out and saying, this is important that you understand that literacy matters.
And obviously, Family Literacy Day is on Wednesday, but literacy is something that should be practiced throughout the year. But how does family literacy help impact the community in a broader sense?
Yeah, so I think the thing to think about is it brings us together. So many of the people who celebrate Family Literacy Day across Canada really kind of connect through literacy on a day-to-day basis. So this could be your learning centers or your community centers where they really celebrate that, and of course your schools. A really good example is the Lloydminster Learning Council Association. They're celebrating Family Literacy Day in a really innovative way, and really kind of going with the theme of travel the world together. And so not only can you go to their website and learn more about this, but you can actually even design a postcard for Lloydminster and lots of other fun activities, all connected. So it's about bringing the community together, even virtually like we are doing now, and thinking about us as a community while still learning.
And obviously people across Canada, across the province are going to be in school doing different activities tomorrow. But for people who want to take part in some of the online virtual activities through ABC Life Literacy Canada, what other activities are going to be going on and how can people access them?
For sure. So the first thing is the familyliteracyday.ca website has a lot of fun tools, resources, and games to play with. We also, our honorary chair of Family Literacy Day, Barbara Reed, is doing a Zoom lesson on clay and reading the story to us. And we're really excited about that. So you can sign up. Everything's free, of course. Another great resource we have is our familyliteracyfirst.ca website. And there's over 80 stories and activities in English and Arabic and French and Tagalog, simplified Chinese, where you can go in and actually just download the activities for free, play with them, read the stories, connect with your family. And so those are a couple of ways you can do it at home or with your community or your school.
And is there anything else that you want to add today that we didn't get to touch on?
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much for talking about this. And I think it's really important that we all gather now and talk about Family Literacy Day as we, it's a great way to connect and a great way to have fun on a snowy winter day in Canada.
Well, Mac Rogers, thank you so much for taking some time to share some of your knowledge with us today.
Thank you very much, Jace.
A PhD student at the University of Alberta has helped discover the first ever baby tyrannosaur fossils. Mark Powers co-authored a study which focused on 2 fossils, both from the Tyrannosaurus species. A small toe was found near Drumheller and a small lower jawbone was unearthed in Montana. The fossils are believed to be between 71 and 75 million years old. Researchers say the discovery solidifies Alberta's place on the international stage for paleontology. Now let's take a look at your pet pad picks. Thank you to everyone who submitted a picture to our Facebook page. We'll be choosing a winner at the end of the week.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Welcome back to Pet Project, everybody. I'm joined this week with Dude, and I think Becca's there as well. How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
We're doing great here. So who's this little guy? I'm very excited. He looks happy and very excited to be on the show.
Yeah, this guy here is Dude. So he's pretty busy being a puppy right now, and so he's not quite wanting to get in the shot with us, but that's okay. But yeah, he is about 4 months old. He's neutered now. And he is about 40 pounds right now.
Oh,
so
wow.
He's going to be a monster.
Oh, so he's a big boy. So he's like...
He's big.
He's probably one of those dogs you want to get if you're a person who likes being outside and exercising, because I imagine he's going to have a lot of energy to burn off when he gets big.
Yes. Oh, yes, for sure.
And so how is he like with people when you guys play? Like, is he, very friendly? Is he, usually easy to get along with? What's he like?
Yeah, he's really good, actually. Like, he still has his baby teeth, so they're a little sharp. But he's catching on quickly to not bite, really. Like he seems to go for his toys before his hands. And like he's picking up things quickly. He knows how to sit already, so we've been working on that, and I've been trying to get him to do paw, but he's still trying to figure it out.
Well, that's good. I mean, if he seems fairly obedient, then he might be all right in a house with some older kids if he has the proper training, perhaps. Or what do you think?
Yeah, I think he'd be good in any home. Like, he seems to want to play with every dog that he meets. He doesn't really zone in on the cats too much, so I think he would get to know that cats are a little tougher than he is right now. But yeah, I mean, if little kids are in the home, obviously you gotta start training him early to not bowl them over. But he's just happy to meet everyone.
Beautiful. Well, he does look like a very nice young boy. How are you guys doing for other dog numbers, Becca? Does he have any other friends at the SPCA right now, or is he kind of the lone dog?
Yeah, no, he's got a couple friends. We have a couple that will be going for their surgery soon. And so, yeah, they're like, we have a little gold medium-sized dog, so we're not really too sure what she is. And then a younger one, about 8 to 10 months old. We think she's a boxer cross as well. But yeah, that's only what we have on the floor right now.
Oh, beautiful. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I know, like, it's a bit of a paradox. It's always nice when the SPCA gets rid of animals, gets them out of the door. You would think it'd be the other way, but that's what you guys are here for. So, and how are you guys doing for cats? I know recently you guys were quite full. You know, we were looking for some people to come and help out. You know, get some cats their forever home. So, how are you guys doing right now?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. We were starting to fall off the waiting list yesterday. We had transferred some of our longest residents out last week to Edmonton, so a few of them have been adopted already, so that's really nice. But yeah, so we cleared up a little bit of space doing that, and then now it's just filling back up again with the cats that need some space in here.
Well, that's good to hear that you guys have room for some more if, you know, the need arises. And Becca, we were speaking a little off camera, but I thought it would be, you know, maybe good to mention that you guys do sponsored adoptions, right? So, I mean, if you're somebody at home who, you know, really loves the look of Dude, and you think, wow, I would really like to, you know, help this animal get a home, but maybe you can't take a dog in yourself, they can sponsor Dude's adoption, correct? And then when the person who is ready to take Dude in, who maybe, you know, doesn't have the adoption fees and things like that, then they can just essentially come in and pick up a free dog, correct, Becca?
Yeah. So if that's, you know, another way, you can definitely help us out here at the shelter as well too, by sponsoring an adoption. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the times, you know, everyone that's coming in here, they're coming in looking for what they want. And then it typically is more or less a surprise when they find out that they don't actually have to pay for it. So yeah, it's always a really nice way to help out as well.
Beautiful. So anybody out there, like I just love the idea of doing that. And I know I'd sponsored a cat's adoption before in the past, and it was for that specific reason, because I felt like, oh, I really like this cat that I've never met before, but I really want somebody to be able to take this cat home. And you know, it's a good way to really feel like you did something, and you know, you help somebody out. And you know, even if you're not in the position to take an animal home physically yourself, is always nice. And one other thing I wanted to mention too was you guys also have the foster program, right? Which is another way that you can help out if you can't, you know, take an animal in long term, right? So how does the foster system work then, Becca? Like, how does that typically work?
Yeah, so I mean, basically you can fill out the form on our website. So it's just LloydminsterSPCA.com. And so then it goes to Zoe Gray here at the shelter. And so she will contact you when we need a foster. So, I mean, actually, even right now, like, we're currently looking for a foster, or 2 fosters, sorry, for 2 dogs that have a bit of anxiety issues. So we're really trying to get them out of the shelter to get to know them properly, like what their personalities are really like. So we are currently looking for fosters for that reason as well.
Well, there you go. So if anybody out there wanted to, you know, help out a little dog who's going through a hard time, would be, you know, a very nice thing to do to help them, you know, come out of their shell a little bit in a foster home.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're all out of time for today, Becca, but we'll just close the show. Once again, I'll remind people, if you want to make a donation to the SPCA, they accept money, they accept physical item donations. Just, you know, get in touch. And thank you so much for joining us, Becca, this week, and we will speak with you again next week.
Yes, thanks again for having us.
Thank you.
Manage your waste and recyclables with Quick Pick Waste Disposal. 100% locally owned and proud to serve and support the communities we call home. Quick Pick, the convenient solution to avoid pollution.
Joining us here today on Primetime Local News is indie pop artist Michaela Slinger. Now, Michaela, I know we're talking today about your new song, Makes You Sad, and I know you had a lot of high-end people and producers working on this song with you. So take us through that experience and what it was like to work with them and what ultimately the song ended up becoming.
Yeah, I feel really excited about this one. I think it was one of those songs where as soon as we wrote it and I was listening to the demo on the way home, it was like, wow, this like it's one of those things you kind of listen to and you can't really believe that you were a part of it. It just sounds like something that already exists in the world. So I feel really excited that it's out now because I've been sitting on it for over a year. I wrote it in, I guess, October of 2019. And as you mentioned, with two of my mentors, producers, and co-writers who have supported me on my entire debut album with 604. So that's Kevy and Louise Burns. And the three of us, we were just, most of the times that we worked together, I would bring a song that was pretty fully realized, like maybe on guitar, maybe I'd tracked it on GarageBand. But this one, we decided to just try a co-write, kind of Nashville style. So the three of us get into a room, we don't have anything, and by the end of the day, we have something. And I played a couple voice notes off my phone, and we selected one and just kind of started riffing off of it from there. And it was just one of those sessions where everything is aligning, and I think we were all in a good headspace. We all were kind of really vibing with what the other people were doing, and it came together quite quickly. So there's also the added sort of excitement for this one, especially. It's like I'm always excited when I put out my stuff, but knowing that Louise and Kevy both had so much investment and so much of their talent and energy poured into the song, it's almost like a three-way kind of shared celebration, which is really cool.
You know, one thing I'm always curious about with other artists, Michaela, is how they've handled, the quarantine and how they kind of keep their creative minds very sharp. Have you been pushing out some new stuff or working on some new stuff rather? And how have you been handling the quarantine really?
Yeah, well, I think for the first time when lockdown started last March here, I was not very inspired to write and I wasn't really having ideas. And I think it's just because I'm a very extroverted person and I get a lot of my ideas from just being out in the world, interacting with people. So when I was not allowed to do that in any way, I was kind of like, what am I going to write about? The view from my couch on day 60? So that was sort of a lull period, but I'm not trying to be super hard on myself in terms of productivity because I do find that I love to write and that inspiration can come quite naturally. So took a little bit of chill time. And then in quarantine, I started this Instagram live series every Thursday when people were really locked down. So that was kind of my attempt to still maintain that connection that's so important to me when we couldn't be together. And then I ended up doing a little outdoor acoustic tour in the summer. Obviously, we couldn't perform live and had to maintain social distancing. So I just played at like outdoor small venues, a couple places on some of the Gulf Islands here in BC. Like one time I played at a farmer's market, but people kind of came and sat up chairs. So made do with what I could. And then I'd actually finished the recording of my debut album like the week before lockdown. So I had all these songs and we were trying to figure out a plan to release them. So most of COVID for me has looked like getting my team in place with the record label, getting a lot of other stuff together that I never really thought about as a new artist that you need to have, like all of the photos and the video content and being thoughtful about what you want to put out into the world because you only get to release a song once. So now that's all kind of coming together and we're getting ready to release my album in April.
With music videos, I know you got a few under your belt. And for someone like yourself, is there a lot of say on how creative you get to be and make it the way that you want to make it?
I definitely have a strong vision for what I want. And then I'm lucky that I get to collaborate with people who share that vision and elevate my vision. So for all of my music videos that I've done so far, from the time I released my first single as an independent artist until now that I'm with 604 Records, I've worked with one of my best friends and my director, Miranda McDougall. So she's directed all of them. And then two of my other really good friends, Callum Gunn and Hank Hill. They have a content creation and media company here called East Cherry. So between the four of us, over time, we've developed this really amazing creative working relationship. So typically, like an idea will start by Miranda and I going for a walk or for a run or a bike ride, just kind of talking about creative ideas. And then she'll go away and flesh it out on a storyboard and bring it to me, and we'll all kind of workshop it and put it together. So it feels like mine, but it also feels like my initial ideas made better by the talent of other people who are better at videos than I am.
And lastly, for people to check out your new single, where can they go do so?
Everywhere that you get your music online, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, all those places. There's also a music video that's coming out on January 29th that I'm super, super proud of. I think it's really beautiful. I got to make it with some of my closest friends. So stay tuned for that on my YouTube. And I really love connecting with people who have kind of found my music or discovered me for the first time. So I'm on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, just under my name, Michaela Slinger.
Well, Michaela, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. Makes You Sad is now available on all major streaming platforms. Go check it out. Michaela, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks so much. Thanks for chatting. It was great to meet you.
We're going to take a look at your 7-day forecast once again. Tomorrow on Wednesday, it's going to be a high of -16, a low -21. On Thursday, things get a little warmer, of -15 for the high, -19 for the low. Things continue to stay warm on Friday with the sun coming out a little more at the high of -12. There'll be some overcast days as we head into the weekend. Saturday, the high is -13, a low of -19. On Sunday, we see -12 for the high, -18 for the low. Overcast continues on Monday with 10 degrees for the high and -11 for the high on Tuesday.
Thanks again for joining us for Primetime Local News, and you can catch us in the next hour on CITL.